Voters of Monson, I am Michael Fitzpatrick, and I previously served as a long-term chair of the Monson Democratic Town Committee. And it is in that somewhat retired capacity I was recruited to make this announcement. The purpose of this presentation is to encourage the citizens and the voters of Monson to turn out in full for the June 14th, 2022 Monson annual town elections. The election base is the Memorial Town Hall, and we want to convey special appreciation to a number of people. Ryan Shepard, I believe, is on the other side of this camera. Ryan, good to see you again. We also want to convey appreciation to Aaron Carpenter, who has volunteered to serve as the producer of this program. That's exactly the kind of community service that the town needs, and I congratulate Aaron for his willingness to do that. It is my understanding that Aaron has reached out to each of the 13 candidates that will appear on the ballot. Also want to convey our appreciation to Bruce Hendricks and the M-PACT studio team. So I have a copy of the warrant and I'll walk you through that to kind of give you some background. Again, I believe the candidates have all been invited to make personal comments on this particular studio and to be given a chance to not necessarily debate our items, but to share additional insight on why they deserve your vote. First of all, in the category of Select Board, we have a 3-year seat available for one candidate. We do have competition. That in itself is good news because so many of the 351 communities of our Commonwealth lack competitive offices. I'm watching this across the state, and in some cases, I notice write-in candidates and last-minute shuffling to recruit people to run. So we're very fortunate to have 13 candidates either running for re-election or pursuing the seat. So consistent with the ballot, the Select Board has an alphabetical order because there is no uninterrupted incumbent that is represented. The first candidate is Anthony Allard of Mechanic Street. The third is Robert Cady of Butler Road. And the fourth is John Morrell of East Hill. In the next category, we have a 3-year seat with a vote for one and one candidate who is up for re-election. That's Peter Matro of Green Street. In the Board of Assessors, it's a 3-year seat. Once again, vote for one, and we do have an incumbent. That incumbent is Russell Andrew Brissett Jr. Moving through the warrant, if you will, or the town ballot, for school committee, there's a 3-year seat and vote for two. There's a candidate for re-election, Colleen Flynn of Reynolds Ave. There are two other candidates competing for that spot, Edward Meyer of Green Street and Jamie Murphy of Ayers Road. In the Cemetery Commission, it's vote for one. It's a 3-year seat. The candidate for re-election is Dave Bowden of Country Club Heights. In the Park and Recreation Commission category, it's a 3-year seat. Again, vote for one, and an incumbent again, Madeline Rose Goodrich from Bumstead Road. The Water and Sewer Commission has a vote for one opportunity for a 3-year seat. Another candidate for re-election, that's Paul DeMayo. And finally, in Housing Authority, a 5-year seat, vote for one, a candidate for re-election, Shirley Bagg. I do also want to comment that the Democratic Town Committee has been particularly active under the leadership of Karen Nody Valley. She, among other things, has coordinated a Democratic Town Committee Candidates Night. There will be a graphic, I understand, that will be later posted through the help of M-PACT. But that event, to give you a heads up, is the 55th Annual Candidates Night. I've invited all the candidates to be present on Friday, June 10th at the Monson Polish Club. It's a $25 fee to cover the cost of the meal and the scholarship. I also have been made aware that the scholarship committee has met and reviewed the candidacy of 9 candidates from Monson High School, although Pathfinder candidates were also eligible. And I understand it was a very difficult choice because of the competition and the strong portfolio presented by each of the 9 candidates. The results of that have been shared with the Monson High School counseling staff, and through the graduation process, they will announce the winner. Once again, I encourage people to vote on June 14th at the annual town election. We are very fortunate to have candidates. They deserve an opportunity to hear what your preference is. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hello, my name is Robert Caddy. I'm running for the Monson Select Board. Vote for a change in Monson Town government. I support a 5-member select board. We had an opportunity to decide this May 9th at our town meeting, but the town moderator decided not to let it go forward. Vote to bring more business to Monson. Too much of our real estate tax is levied on the homeowner. There are more than enough areas zoned business to bring a variety of businesses to Monson. Vote to preserve your future. With new business comes new opportunities and jobs. I will ask experts in their fields to come forward with ideas. Vote for fiscal responsibility and accountability. Too much of our tax dollars are being spent unnecessarily on different projects. Our money is being spent on equipment that should have lasted longer if maintained properly. Vote for strong leadership. I will not be a rubber stamp for our town administrator. All recommendations will be evaluated. Vote for common sense policies. I will take a close look at how our current policies affect our residents' rights and privileges in our community. Vote for a safe community to raise your children with your family values. We must prepare for the next national crisis. Our senior citizens and others were not given adequate help for 2 years. The state gave priority to the cities. Vote for a good working relationship between the police and residents in our community to curb crime. I will bring back the Crime Watch when I am elected. Vote for a modernization of our fire department using grants from state and federal government. Our fire department has been neglected for many years. Now, this is how I qualify for the position. I've been a resident for 20 years. I attend select board meetings and town meetings. I compile information from other areas such as the planning board, school department, and so on, etc. I was an elected town meeting member for 8 years when I lived in West Springfield, so I know town government. I was on the finance committee for 2 years in West Springfield. I helped establish a bylaw that passed town meeting regulating solar farms in Monson, protecting rural residential areas as well as other areas in town. In 2007, I filed a warrant article as the petitioner to town meeting, which passed as a bylaw. It prevented the town from taking private property by eminent domain, then selling the property to a private developer to increase the tax base. This was a counter to the United States Supreme Court decision in Kelo versus New London, Connecticut. The new Monson bylaw is called the Private Policy Protection Act of 2007. I petitioned the Monson Board of Selectmen 7 years ago to lower the speed limit on Butler Road. The trustees of reservation properties are on Butler Road. This was a safety issue. I'm a United States Army veteran who served his country honorably. I'm a conservative Republican who believes in the Constitution, family values, and transparency in government. When I'm elected, I will install a private phone line in my home that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think I covered just about everything that is necessary at this time. If I'm elected, I'll do my best for those of you in our community. Thank you, and remember, your vote counts. So vote for me on June 14th. Thank you again.
Good day, and thank you to M-PACT for giving the candidates the opportunity to speak to the voters. My name is John Morrell, and I'm a candidate seeking the open seat on the Monson Select Board. I live at 15 East Hill Road with my wife Nancy, where we raised our 2 daughters, Nicole and Jennifer. I've lived in Monson since 1954. My campaign is based on experience, fairness, and common sense. I have served the town of Monson as an elected official for 51 years in different capacities and would like to share some of my accomplishments. I was your elected highway surveyor for 13 terms, equaling a total of 39 years until my retirement. During that time, I obtained over $23 million in grants for the town that they otherwise would not have received. I have served 2 terms for a total of 6 years on the Monson Water Sewer Commission as well. During that time as chairman of the commission, I initiated the allowance of over $100,000 from the Conant Brook Dam account. This money was used to put up a new building for that department. This allowed the Water Sewer Department to leave the antiquated facility in the basement of the Town Hall Annex. I also served 2 terms for a total of 6 years on the Monson Board of Selectmen. During that time, I created a new parking lot, which is now on the northwest corner of Veterans Field. I met a lot of resistance with this proposal, but was able to make it become a reality. This lot is now being used by many residents on a daily basis and addresses the limited downtown parking and public safety issues on State Street. My experience with town budgets is unequaled by any other candidate. I have been involved in local town government almost all my life and have always been responsive to residents' concerns. You may hear from the other candidates about transparency and change. I have always been transparent with the public. As far as change is concerned, I am not against change and I'm always open to suggestions. However, changes must be well thought out regarding both short and long-term consequences to the town. My objective is to move our town forward and get things done. I am business friendly and would like to bring back the annual business forum I had created when I was serving on the Board of Selectmen. This gave businesses the opportunity to voice their concerns directly to the board. I also want to put as much pressure as possible on the state to move forward on attracting new uses for the Monson Developmental Center property. I will work to keep taxes at a minimum without losing current services. The Select Board will continue to make decisions on federal funds associated with the American Rescue Plan Act and state funds regarding the recently released Complete Streets program. A majority of these funds deal with our town infrastructure, with the Select Board involving in making these funding decisions. No other candidate has the experience I have in that field. I am all ready to go to work and make a positive impact serving on the Select Board. I ask you to bring me back on the Select Board with your vote at the annual town election on June 14th. Thank you for listening.
Hello, Monson. My name is Colleen Flynn, and I'm seeking re-election to the Monson School Committee. I'm wrapping up my 3rd year of my first term, and I'm currently serving as chair of our 5-member board. I moved to Monson 7 years ago. My daughter is a student at Granite Valley, and I've worked with coffee and customers for the past 15 years in restaurant management. When I first joined the committee, I only had a cursory understanding about the work it entailed and the weight of its duty as it's carried out in an elected position. My experience over the past 3 years has given me far greater and far more nuanced perspective of what it means to make this sort of commitment to both constituents and to the district. Over the course of my term, I've had the opportunity to work on various subcommittees, which encompass several different directives and initiatives. As a member of the Finance Subcommittee, I've worked with district administration to oversee the development and implementation of our annual budget. When on policy, I've been able to collaborate with my fellow members on crafting policy that helps shape the path and vision of the Monson Public Schools. This past year, I handled negotiations with the teachers union, an experience that allowed me to learn the ins and outs of collective bargaining, and also gave me a whole new perspective and level of appreciation for the hard work that our educators do every day of the year. As chair this year, it has been a priority of mine to keep our school committee meetings open, transparent, and accessible. I know the struggle of a single parent trying to juggle homework and dinner and bedtime and bath time. And so I know how useful a Zoom link can be when I want to do all these things and still want to stay up to date and informed and engaged with the people making decisions about my child's education. Our current in-person and virtual hybrid format has been a huge success, and I'm thrilled that we were able to pull it off. And I definitely encourage parents and members of the community to take advantage of either option for as long as we're able to continue it. I'm here today to answer the most obvious question a candidate can answer, the why behind seeking re-election. At the end of the day, I'm a parent who wants to role model what positive civic engagement can look like. Just show that it can be accessible to any motivated resident with the drive to pursue it. I also want to make sure that my daughter is getting the best education possible. And this role really makes me put my money where my mouth is. And it's also opened up a whole new level of advocacy for all students in all grades and at all levels. But honestly, aside from these lofty ideals, I would also like an opportunity to have another chance to show up as a committee member who isn't faced with the global pandemic. 9 months after the June election in 2019, everything changed. In the following months and years, so much time and energy has been spent mitigating the unprecedented challenges that we were collectively up against. My goal during that time was steadfast. Identify what we can do to keep the kids in school and learning in a safe and effective manner, and implement it to the best of our ability. Identify what we can do to keep staff feeling safe and supported, and give them the tools that they need to make it happen. I'm blown away with our district response to the COVID-19 pandemic and could not be prouder of how, as a community, we came together during such stressful and uncertain periods of time. We undoubtedly have a lot of work to do with our kids, but there's still so much to celebrate about what we have accomplished in the meantime. If elected for a second term, I have a unique perspective that I can bring to the solutions simply because I was actively present as the problems were unfolding. I fully understand the constraints and challenges we were and still are contending with, and can bring that knowledge with me into helping pave the road ahead. It's my nature to have a positive eye on the future, with keeping my feet firmly planted in reality. As a school committee member, you have to be able to operate effectively within the boundaries of your purview, being creative while always being fiscally responsible. You have to make hard decisions and sometimes deliver unpopular news or opinions, all while maintaining your optimism and faith in the bigger picture. You have to remove ego, personal agenda, and political partisanship from your vocabulary, and really embrace open communication and compromise for the greater good of all who are affected by your leadership. You have to lead with compassion and integrity. And you have to remember that at all times, and above all else, you're here for the children and their welfare. I'm confident that I embody these qualities, and I think my colleagues seated on the committee can attest to this as well. I see these traits as strengths, and I hope to continue to bring them to the table as a school committee member. I'd like to close by saying that I know the other two candidates running for school committee seats. They're both wonderful people. I'm thrilled to be finally part of a contested race because it reflects a true passion for this type of leadership in our community. And I don't think there is a wrong choice between the three of us. The most important message I can leave you with today is that voting in municipal elections is an important part of the democratic process, and one of the most impactful ones to you and to your neighbors. And if the past few years have taught us anything, of utmost importance is the scale of how local, state, and federal politics affect your day-to-day life. If you know of an unregistered voter in town, please encourage them to register to vote by May 25th. I hope to see you at the polls on June 14th. Thank you.
Hello, Monson residents. My name is Jamie Murphy, and I am running for Monson School Committee on June 14th. A little bit about myself and my background. My husband and I moved to Monson, Massachusetts about 20 years ago on the great premise of a small town living experience for us and our family. My husband and I have a very valuable vested interest in the school system. 2 children attending Monson High School and 1 child currently attending Granite Valley. We are extremely proud of our children for all the hard work that they put into their schoolwork, their friends, and their athletics. Although I am not employed in a school district setting, one of my great passions is volunteering. Currently, I am the president of the Monson PTSA for the entire Monson School District. This opportunity has opened doors in meeting new families in town, working with the current school district, the staff, partnering and presenting currently to the Monson School Committee, fundraising opportunities, and heavy community involvement, and being a part of a powerful association that can advocate on behalf of children and educators on the local, the state, and the national levels. Currently, my work profession is in finance and auditing with great detail for policies, procedure creation, and process improvements. My vision for the Monson Public Schools is to empower all students to become critical thinkers, problem solvers, caring adults, and engaged citizens. I believe that my experiences, exposure, accountability, team player attributes would give me a unique perspective to the Monson School Committee. I hope that if I am elected for school committee on June 14th, my goal is to work as a powerful team member with the current school committee to make sure that we are able to do everything in our power to provide to our children with the tools that will help them be successful in school, to have a positive and meaningful school experience, and walk down that aisle during graduation knowing that their school years here in Monson was positively fulfilled. I would also like to see our community come together, especially at school committee meetings, to voice what they believe in and to collaborate positively towards our common goals for our children. Again, thank you for your time. My name is Jamie Murphy, and I appreciate your vote on Tuesday, June 14th.